I'm Al Filreis.
I'm Anna Safford.
And this is ModPoMinute, actually 5 minutes.
We're hoping to scratch the surface of a short poem that we like.
So let's get started. Hi, Alli.
Hi, Al.
This is Alli Katz.
It's me.
We're here. We're talking about a poem by Heather Thomas. It's a new book by Heather called Vortex Street. And there are many poems in the book of different titles, but she has a series of poems called Postcard from Vortex Street. They all have the same title. This one it says 3/15. I'm guessing it's either March 2015 or it's March 15th. I'll read the poem, we'll talk about it. Postcard from Vortex Street, 3:15. Start the day trying not to hear myself think. Breath on the page blows into the street. Have I gotten over myself so I can reach you? So what does it mean to say, I'm going to start the day trying not to hear? What does it mean not to try not to hear yourself think?
Well, I think got a failure point, like straight off. Like trying not to hear yourself think means that you are thinking about not thinking of yourself thinking. And that is impossible.
So it's like one of these, it's funny but profound.
It's definitely a statement of a failed purpose.
What kind of person is the person who has this dilemma?
It's a person who maybe spends a lot of time thinking about themselves.
Okay. And she's talking as a person who's like that, but also as a poet, right?
Yes, also as a poet.
Or writer, I guess I should say.
As a person who's chosen to think about themselves.
Postcard from Vortex Street. Postcard. Postcard implies these are going to be short little notes.
To someone else.
To someone else. So who is the you at the end? Have I gotten over myself so I can reach you?
The reader.
Most obviously, I think.
Yeah.
Postcard, the reader of the postcard.
The reader of the postcard.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who's reading the postcard.
I mean, it could be, we always go first for the meta-poetic reading. It's the reader.
The
but
capital
it could
R
also
reader?
be some person that she's trying to communicate with. There's a certain narcissism at the beginning, as you've pointed out. And she's now at the end trying to get over that narcissism. Can you characterize how she tries to do that? She asks this wonderful rhetorical question.
Have I gotten over myself so I can reach you? And I think there's another failure point there. Like, it's kind of a weird way to think about it. Like, why would you have to get over yourself in order to reach another person? Are you so trapped in the you that you can't communicate to another person?
It's really good idiom, Alli. Have I gotten over myself? Like, that's
literally
very
a
negative,
physical, yeah.
right? Get over it.
See that?
Yeah. So in the middle, so we talked about the beginning and the end. In the middle, there is a 2-line sentence.
Yes, that's split.
That's split by stanza.
Yes.
Breath on the page. So now we know this is really a poet writing about, or the postcard. But postcard isn't a page. So I think
it's probably a page.
Yeah, like a page of maybe a poem, right? Breath on the page. So she's standing outside on Vortex Street in the cold. It's March.
It's chilly, probably.
Yeah.
Breath on the page. So then we have, there's, I think, the sort of standard poetry, like I'm breathing, I'm giving life into the page.
Inspiration, respiration.
Yes. But I like the next part of the line that we get after the stanza break better. Blows onto the street. So there's a physical, I'm putting my work, this piece of writing, this postcard
out onto the street. Which implies, it's a bit of a stretch, but it implies a certain public declaration, like, I'm not just, today's Emily Dickinson inside. I'm actually going to kind of...
This is going out there.
Breathe my respirate my poems out there, which coincides not with her standing on the rooftop on Vortex Street shouting her poems, but actually just reaching you, which is kind of a minimal.
Yes, the singular you that has that feeling, but maybe it's the you, the grand you, all of you use.
Or maybe it's just the person who happens to be reading this particular postcard.
Oh yeah, the reader.
So, Vortex Street. So the title of the book is Vortex Street. And these postcards are from Vortex Street. I love that. What the hell is Vortex Street? Where is Vortex Street? Is it like near Desolation Row?
It's a full town full of nothing but like post-industrial symbols and weird metaphysical spaces where you can get lost, I guess. And Vortex Street seems to be a pretty sticky center of all that, right down in that hole.
So you've kind of implied the definition of vortex, which is a kind of swirling, whirlpool-like drain.
That pulls you down.
Something that pulls you down. So let's just conclude by talking about what it would be like to be a poet, a writer on Vortex Street. If the poem is, there's a poem by Wallace Stevens called Postcard from the Volcano.
Like a reverse vortex.
Yeah, and I have this, when I read that poem, it's a very beautiful poem. When I read that poem, I think he's like, I'm going down, but he wouldn't talk that way. I'm going down, but here's a little, like, poet's cry. I hope someone reads this someday. It's a big, like, catastrophe. This seems to be a minor version of that. So I'll leave it to you to say, to see a series of postcards from Vortex Street in this book, what is the poet saying of her
Probably,
state?
get me out of here. I'm in the hole.
Get me out of poetness? Get me out of daily life?
Get me out of myself.
Yeah.
If that's what you're going for, get me out of this paradox where I'm thinking and writing and being about myself, and I'm looking to reach you, get over myself and reach you.
Hey, Alli Katz, has she reached you? Because if she did, then it's a little ironic, right?
It is. I feel reached. I feel like I've read, and I think that's step one, at least, to the reaching.
Here's the step one. Thank you, Alli.
Thank you, Al.
If you liked this episode, watch another and subscribe.
And join us for ModPo, a free and open course at modpo.org.